particularly this is west and that's east.
And it's oriented true east-west.
And the building is oriented true north-east-west. Figure that wards off evil, and ancient temples and ancient buildings were rife with such sort of features that were apotropaic. I'm forgetting the brother's name, but he was actually Grand Secretary, and he was a physician. And he was conducting this activity, and so you were getting all sorts of internationally recognized people coming here, and they were totally engaged in occult activity. The north facade, and this is Manitoba, this is the bull, this is a number of icons that are depicting fertility of the region. Legislative structures in Canada that have an actual male figure on top. We'll get to that a little bit later. Most of them are female. The interesting thing as well is that you find that there's four, you can't see them from this angle, but there's four huge carvings that are underneath the golden boy. And we'll explain that a little bit later. In a lot of ancient temples, Ukraina, or something that was a protector, you can see the bulls. Athena, of course, as we know, is a symbol of democracy. But we find some interesting embellishments in this room as well, the outer courtyard. You find the lion's heads. He talked about, light bringing. He talked about the importance of light, of sun, and this whole thing is about sun worship. This whole thing is about imbuing its people who come through ignorant. They're bathed in light.
It's 13, 13.
Now,
and the length of the staircase is 66.6.
This speaks to sacred architecture. What they're saying basically is stay away or stay out. They are protectors of the temple. And Rockefeller accused him of embedding hidden symbols of Christ into it. And no different here. Where do you see the figure of Christ? This is the Passion of Christ. You see the figure being dragged off, going off, and he appears to be injured. He's got his breast bare, and he's dressed in white and the other soldiers. And it almost looks like the cannon that's behind him appears like a cross. So he's almost like that's his burden to bear. So if we come in, if this is the outer chamber, remember, a lot of ancient temples were built tripartite architecture, so three. Like King Solomon's Temple, which in Masonic rite we're very well acquainted with. Outer chamber, inner chamber, sanctum sanctorum, holy of holies. So this follows that same model. Corinthian pillars. So remember, in our Masonic 5 orders of architecture, the Corinthian are the most elaborate. They're the most beautiful. And here again, this is indicating a chamber of knowledge. This goes to the second degree of Freemasonry, the seven liberal arts and sciences. And how do we know this? Well, we look, interesting feature, if you look up above, what do you think the distance is here? 13 feet. Think about a Masonic lodge. And when we walk upon the pavement in a Masonic lodge, what are you walking upon? Very interesting chamber. You can hear a pin drop in there. So again, built with sacred geometric proportions. One thing that's very interesting, you'll see that Moses is depicted as in St. Peter's in Rome, with horns on his head. If you look at some of the semantics of German words, the etymology of words, the Germans refer to crater, and they shall all have their crowns. And this is prophetic that someday all people will once again wear crowns of glory. In other words, we'll all be enlightened. And we're heading towards an age of enlightenment. So this is what it's kind of related to. Everything relates to light.
And then there's Vertalis, and I can't make that one out, Glorium. And then Patria, Country, Cara, Carrior, Liberius.
Probably the most interesting room of the building. You see that it's a circular chamber. Traditional initiatic rites would travel to the underworld, and he would seek the feminine deity for knowledge. This is almost the sacrificial point. This is the sacrificial point of the place where the initiate comes to the center lot of the historical biblical archaeologists favor the idea of two warriors actually protecting the ark. The building is just filled with all of this kind of symbology, and you know, I mean, you can look and there's more and more and more.